That's a big milestone, if you ask me. That's really great, and I congratulate Ashwini and perhaps most of you or many of you have been part of these regular sessions. The whole COVID is while many are stressed, many are spending their time in different ways. I think it's a honor and a pleasure to be exploring our inner self, exploring consciousness at this time of the history, right? We are truly blessed in that sense that we have taken that into a positive aspect, and then being able to go deeper and explore consciousness, explore and understand ourselves a lot more. And any amount of my heartfelt congratulations to Ashwini and all the team in making it happen. In fact, I celebrated my 100th day on June 19th, because somewhere I started these digital sessions on March 12th, before some of these lockdowns and stuff happened. And so we were doing daily continuous sessions one way or the other, and June 19th was the culmination of 100th day, and it felt good. It's pretty good from where it was to how this technology is working and how powerful it is, not only to learn and understand meditation practice, but I think there's also some deep process one can do by sitting at the comforts of the home. So thank you so much. And I wanted to ask, so thank you so much, and congratulations, Ashwini, once again. And it's an honor for me to be here and sharing what I know today. And we'll certainly do a good meditation. And so I wanted to do, so 3:20, right? Yes. I want to know how many of you, if you have attended a 6-week program that I was doing for corporates in last month and June, or the 3-day program that I have done, just concluded yesterday, 3 days on manifestation meditation and 6 weeks on meditation. Did anybody of you do it? So can you raise your hand if you have done that? Just to know if anyone has even. Okay, Esker Nadella.
Yes.
Vivo, okay. 3.
I have also attended, sir, Bhuvaneshwari.
Okay, so the same Bhuvaneshwari ji. That's great. You are in
Yes, sir. Both times.
you are in
Sir?
the you are in the 6 weeks this program, or you are in the Pyramid Valley evening program?
Yes,
Evening,
both the
and morning,
programs.
both the programs. Okay, wonderful.
Morning session.
Morning session,
Morning and evening, both.
evening also. Okay, all right. Okay, great. So we have some here. Perfect. So we have 3. I see three people raise a hand. Okay, Anusha. Wonderful. Okay. Now the reason I wanted to ask is, in the meditation, we wanted to, because we are doing beyond Anapanasati, we are doing a heart opening process. I just need to know if I need to go and explain about it, but it seems like I will need to explain. I will do that. Okay. So, friends, maybe the next question I'll ask is, how many of you actually attended or know about these 7 mirrors of relationships? I have done this in the past, as well as recently we gotten Dr. Lakshmi Newton to do a program on this subject a few weeks or months ago. If has any one of you attended on this 7 relationships sacred, again you could just quickly raise your hand, so just I know. Basically based on that we know how deep we go or how where we stay, right? Okay, I have not seeing any hand raising, so which means perhaps you're not attended or attended a very, very long time ago. Okay. So friends, I am Chandra Pulamarasetti. I am an IT professional, technologist, computer scientist. Spent a long time as a software programmer to leader to a director of VPs to then I finally founded my own companies. And most recently, I was with IBM as a vice president in running one of their business divisions where my company got acquired by them. So that's my business professional side. And of course, now I came out from there and I'm doing full-time meditation service at this time. Although I consider myself to be in the transitioning period, so while I continue to do my full-time service, I might have more startups in the future. Nothing is you can ever eliminate, right? So that's me. As a business leader, I've certainly been enjoyed my time and career of the past 28 years in the IT industry. And certainly I spent a good amount of time in the United States and then back here, now in Bangalore. Now, parallel to that, I learned meditation about 20 years ago in 99 from my younger brother, Dr. GK. And then soon after, I met Brahmashi Patriji, founder of PSSM, in the same year, pretty quickly when I returned back from the United States. And it's been a wonderful time for me. It took me about 3 years to actually get into the depth of meditation in those days. But when I came into meditation fully, it took me 3 years. But then 2002, when I came into fully and then understood really for about 2 months of serious sincere practice of meditation, for almost 1.5 to 2 hours a day, maybe sometimes 1 hour. And then also read important books like Conversation with God by Neil Donald Walsh. I read Yogananda Paramhamsa Autobiography Yogi. I read Jonathan Livingston Seagull Illusions by Richard Bach and Deepak Chopra's books. So some of these books also I read in the same time frame. At the end of it, I understood that everything in our life, the happiness or sadness, success or failure, a lot of it is really due to our ignorance. The way we feel is what causes us to feel one way or the other. The way we feel is really based on the meaning we give to what we are experiencing at that point by our mind. And a lot of that is really in us. So I recognize that 90% of our life is completely in our hands, meaning in terms of happiness and sadness and feeling one way or the other. And then only so the moment I understood that, 90% of my sufferings have gone away. Whether it's irritation, whether it's frustration, whether it's anger, whether it's feeling that somebody is not helping me, low, all of those have gone away the moment I understood that suffering is due to individual ignorance. After understanding, after reading these books and meditating, so both sort of helped me to recognize that yes, it's all in the way we think. 90% of the problems are really in the mind. The meaning we give to a specific incident, event, or a condition is what causes the suffering. So once we understand that, if somebody did not invite us for a function, a birthday function, they're doing it, they didn't invite us, they invited everybody else, then we feel bad about it. Oh, they're ignoring us. Somewhere our ego gets hurt. They're ignoring us. So they called everybody, they didn't call me. Right? So that's what I'm saying. You get the idea. Every time, if you're not invited, if you didn't get a raise, oh, my manager does not like me, right? So these things go on in the mind, and then as a result, we make our life miserable, is how I felt. And so things became very great, beautiful after that. And then I went on, solved a specific health condition, not life-threatening one, something, but it's coming in my career. So I solved that through meditation automatically, because I learned throughout, we create our reality and we heal ourselves. I continuously learned this from a medical doctor on one side, and then from Patriji on the other side. Medical doctor telling you heal yourself. Patriji is saying that there are thousands, hundreds and thousands of people are following him. I said there's got to be some truth, so that's how I explored it. And then today I'm happy to say that in the last 20 years, I didn't have to look at medication of any kind. I didn't have to visit doctors from that perspective. That you truly understand that your body can heal, and your meditation gives you all that energy. It lets your body to function most naturally, the way it is. When you let the body to function naturally, then it has got the capability to heal itself from any condition, right? Subsequently, I've essentially used this function, the meditation, the power of meditation, in my business too. I attribute a lot of the success of my business of acquisition because I had gone through any kind of conditions in our business. There was a point where we were almost shutting down. We were 120 employees. We're a high-tech software company, very high-tech enterprise software. So we were from 100 employees, we came straight down to 12. And there was a time I said, okay, I should just leave, right? But then somewhere, some things, intuitions, meditations, help, and I stuck on to it and figured out that perseverance matters. And ultimately, when we wanted to get this company acquired by IBM, it was a great deal of meditation, the great deal of manifestations, right? Something that I spoke about quite extensively in the last 3 days when I did this program, online program on behalf of Pyramid Valley. But meditation certainly is helping, and is helping in business, in health, and then certainly is helping in relationships. I know many of you have been practicing meditation for some time, so you probably know and you are experiencing many benefits, right? And so you would certainly know that one thing that meditation is giving us is uh, emotional intelligence. It increases our emotional intelligence so significantly that in emotional intelligence is direct relationship to your ability to relate to people, your ability to build relation with people. So it gives that emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-regulation or self-expression. Then it gives you the social communication skills with meditation, right? You become a great listener. So these are some of the core aspects of building relationships. And only when we build relation with others is when we are becoming more and more successful, no matter where it is. Because at the end of the day, things thrive when more people come together. Individually we can do one, but then when two people come together, 1 + 1 becomes 3, right? We know that. We know this formula. So the more we can connect in with others, the more we can do greater things. For what? For ultimately for greater happiness. This is what I really figured out. And so that's how some of the successful leaders are successful, because they got good relationships, right? We got to look at it in a holistic perspective. They got good relationships, because that's when you can hold a team together. You can hold your family together. You can, always exceptions are there. Specific cases, let's not bother about it, right? But in general, when people emotional intelligence so significantly that we become self-aware. So anytime anything happens, rather than doing a knee-jerk reaction, first you are aware of what's happening in your body, right? You're aware of what's happening in your body, and as a result, instead of a reaction, you start doing an action, right? And a response you provide, a constructive response you can provide. So it's become self-aware. So meditation letting be aware in that split second, and then you become self-regulated or self-expressive. That means you are aware and then you're expressing. So when somebody is irritating you, then you are no longer have a knee-jerk reaction when you regularly meditate. Instead, you are obviously giving a more constructive, positive, not necessarily positive, but constructive, more thoughtful response you are giving, right? Based on all the knowledge that you acquire. Now there is a huge science behind it. The whole neuroscience is very, very beautifully explaining how it all happens. Something that I teach in my 6-week program. When someone goes through, right, you understand the full science behind your health, science behind your mind, mind powers, relationships, purpose, and all of that. But today's topic, it is something that's so important to be successful and to have that real happiness. I mean, I'm using successful because it's not only having a relationship so that we get good at with family, but definitely having a great relationship. If you have aspirations for career to be successful, then you want to be absolutely looking at relationships from that lens, right? How do I improve it? Now it's very, very scientific too. Before I talk about the 7 mirrors, and I want to bring quantum physics a little bit. Quantum physics can be summed up in three things, right? There is everything is energy, and we are energy. We are less matter, more energy. That's statement one. When they went and researched, they figured that we are only 0.01% matter, 99.99% energy, right? That is statement one. And then they said that everything out there is energy. Now, quantum physics says this energy is fully connected to each other. It's like a single energy field, and it's got infinite possibilities and opportunities in that. Infinite events. Everything is an event in the concept of quantum physics. What's an event? An event is comprising of a person, place, thing in a given time frame. One or all of them in a given time frame. Right now, this is an event where we are about 35 of us coming together in various locations together. So people are there, places are there, right? Objects, what do you got? Objects here, potentially the things are maybe my laptop, your mobile phones, all that involved in this event, and on this day and this time. So an event is always about a person, place, thing in a given time, right? Some places no time, some places no place, some places no person, but something else is there, right? Your mobile sitting in that desk for yesterday whole day is an event that is there because it is there. Now, what is quantum physics saying? Everything is energy, but with our observation, things got collapsed in front of us. Our thoughts and feelings are the observation, and they are the ones who are collapsing anything and any possibility in front of us, right in front. It's science. Now, quantum physics is saying what do you collapse in front of you is an event. What is an event? A person, place, thing in a given time frame. So, a person showing up in front of you or not showing up in front of you is also an event. We create our reality fundamentally means that any situation we create in front of us, a good or a bad or a pleasant or unpleasant situation with a person is also an event that is attracted based on purely our thought and feelings. So thoughts and feelings, where your attention goes, there the energy flows, there the manifestation happens, is a quantum physics principle. Number 3. We are energy, not matter. And if there is infinite possibilities in this energy field, that means whatever you want to have, no matter, even if you want to say have a Modi ji in front of you and you want to have a friendship with Modi ji, that is also an event, right? And it is possible. Infinite possibilities and infinite opportunities. So that means there is no limit to what you can achieve in your life. Because you are energy, and we have this continuous piece of energy, and then we have that infinite potential. And in that potential, you can bring anything into your physical reality through your thought and feelings, observation, because observation collapses the possibility. So what is observation? Our thoughts and feelings. A thought is energy, and feelings drive a lot of thought, and so the thoughts go and then find that possibility and collapse it. So they've done experimentation using a lot of subatomic particle level experimentations at electron level, at neutron, proton level. They've done this experimentation, and they found and proved all of this is true. So why I'm prefixing this, and then some of this suddenly you can learn in a larger course, right? Because it's deep science. But why I'm prefixing this is to say that eventually our relationships are also a set of events that are happening. An event of you having a friend with you for 6 months is an event, right? For a prolonged event. That friend with you showed up in front of you, and then you guys are having conversations regularly for about 6 months and then went away. For a period of 6 months, you have this person in front. But everything is attracted through our thoughts and feelings. That's the true meaning of we create our reality. So that means whatever that we are attracting, not only the places and things and successes, but also the people too, is based on our thought and feeling. Okay. The feelings are essentially translating to based on our beliefs and emotions in the body. The feelings come out of the emotions in the body, and the emotions are based on the belief system that we formed in ourselves, the beliefs that got created, that got carried forward into our body, into our life, or that got defined and created here. For example, a belief is if your spouse is generally intimidating person and shouting, and then you find 2 such people in a family or his family, here his spouse, right, in her or his family, then you come to a conclusion that these family members are always intimidating and aggressive, and you make that as a belief. Then you come up with a conclusion that, okay, they are always aggressive, so I need to be acted in a specific way. I need to be either for me. That's how you start behaving. The moment you find any person who is aggressive, then suddenly you say, okay, I have to behave in a for me attitude. That means lower yourself. No, I don't do anything, I can't do anything, something like you lower yourself. That's a way to kind of tackle people who are intimidating on you, aggressive on you. So we form a belief, and the moment you say such person, suddenly things that are past memories come up, the feelings come up. So if a person is constantly angry with you, and then you have this strong belief that they're going to be always like that, and then the reason that's stored in there is because you have certain past events around that person, and the context of their family and this and that, all that you keep in mind, and as a result, every time you see that person, every time the person opens up the mouth and say, okay, now again she's, I don't know, he or she is going to just take off now, and then you immediately start having certain feeling in your body, right? Feeling of disaction, feeling of frustration that you're not able to communicate, or feeling of another anger. Some of these immediately come based the moment you see that person, right? We all know it. The relationship between boss and us, or the relationship between a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, whatever, right? There is always this constant, some relations that are always there between two peers of equals. How the frustrating moments that go on constantly. Hey, he is dominating me, I'm dominating him, that kind of stuff. So everything is, our thoughts and feelings create our reality. That means the relationships are also fundamentally based on our thoughts and feelings. Our feelings are driven out of based on the beliefs that we have formed, the perceptions that we have formed, habits that we have formed. Based on that, the feelings rise. And every time a feeling rises in the body, or emotion comes to the body, then immediately that is triggering a whole set of thoughts, and those thoughts are going into the quantum field to project a reality of that nature. So if you feel that nothing good happens for me, and then you say with the same concept that no, always I come across people who cheat me, and then you tell that with a lot of conviction to your friends at coffee table, you come home and you tell the same thing in a conviction to your wife with a lot of feelings and emotion, guess what you're triggering? You're sending those exact emotional signals. You're sending a lot of related thoughts into the energy field, their electromagnetic signatures, and then you're going to attract more of that again and again. You're going to attract more such people into life. So thoughts and feelings are fundamentally creating a reality, and then that's very much true case for the people coming into our life, because they're merely nothing but a set of events. Now, with that as a prefix, I wanted to say that there is a beautiful teaching called 7 Essene Mirrors by these Essenes who are the teachers, supposed to be the teachers of Jesus Christ that time, right, around 2500 years ago. And they formulated, and then everything beautifully is talking about what we attract, what we like, and what we dislike. Based on that is what we create. At the end of the day, it's all about our likes and dislikes in terms of thought process, and then that's what really forming our relationships. And the people we attract in our life are one way they're based on what we are thinking, deep inside and not superficially, right? So the 7 mirrors of relationships, the 7 of them. The first one in this, so let me share a prezzo on this briefly, although yes. So understand the mirrors of relationship from Essene mirrors, right? 7 Essene mirrors. The beginning of love is to let those who we love be perfectly themselves. I think it's really a deep quote that Thomas Merton has said this year. And not to twist them to fit our own image. If you read Conversation with God, that is one of the books that I read, and that is my transformation book, Conversation with God by Neil Donald Walsh. That book opened up for me, and similar statements you always find. That love really means that you got to let whoever you love, whoever you think is a friend, is to be perfectly themselves and not twist them to fit our own image, right? Otherwise, we love only the reflection of ourselves we find in them. So it is an important statement. Otherwise, we love only the reflection of ourselves we find in them. If you are accepting somebody as he is when there is no reflection. Otherwise, it's saying that there is a reflection of you in them, and hence you are attracting them in your life. It is a lot of self work. When we understand the relationships, it is all coming back to always you, you, you. What is that I am doing, and hence I caused and I attracted something in my life. In the context of relationships, we are talking of essentially things that are failing, right? Things that are not working out. So if there's some things that are not working out, it's because there is a reflection of us in of them, of us in them, and that's why we are seeing that in them. It's a reflection. They're like a mirror, truly like a mirror. In front of the mirror, you see yourself, and suppose you don't like yourself. If you change the mirror, you're not going to change you, right? You know that. You think that you saw the mirror and say, oh, okay, so this mirror is, I'm not looking great, so let me bring another mirror. So you bring another mirror, what happens? You still look the same, you're not going to change. But you look different when you actually change, right? If you have to comb your hair, then you look different. You do a lot of meditation, your face becomes more beautiful, radiant, you look different. But if you change the mirror, it's not going to look different. That's how everything is defined. Is that every relationship is a mirror reflecting what we've got, and to change a specific thing that is going in the relationship, we got to change ourselves. Then it changes them there. That's really what is the idea of this whole 7 mirrors of relationships. In scientific way of saying is our thoughts and feelings create the reality. So what we hold deeply or at a high level is what eventually is what we are making and projecting that energy and then attracting that kind of people, that kind of events. So from a physical science perspective, that kind of event is nothing but a person for a specific duration of time, in this case of relationship. A person in your life for a period of duration is a relationship, right? A person in your life for a period of duration is a relationship, and that is an event, and that event is projected based on the level of thought that you have, which is exactly projected, and then so you manifest that person into your life for that period. All right. So we will understand a little bit, view all our relationship with the right lens, understand ourselves completely, to learn to love ourselves, understand the mirrors of our soul, know about various personalities to gain self-understanding, and learn continuously from others. This is the idea of what we are going to do today, right? Yes, you said the time we have is till, do we have time till 3:40? Where I want to do a meditation for about 40 minutes, so we get to talk about this for 20 minutes, I think. Maybe I'll reduce the meditation a little bit. So we'll speak for about next 20-25 minutes on this topic. And finally, at the end of the day, when we are doing this, is only one thing. We develop friendship with everybody. If there's one thing I learned, friends, in my 20 years, and then most recently, where in the last 5 years I've been exploring consciousness so deeply, there's only one thing I came to understand. Whatever that we want in life, the more we become one with other people, the more we develop that friendship, the more we drop our differences, the more we stop judgmental or just picking on smaller things, and the more we can accept others, I think is the more loving our life can be. That's it. That's the mantra. How larger you can think about, how much more you can accept other person, and the definition for that is friendship. Okay, the more you do, the more manifestation can happen in your life. The more you can extend your relationship, that much more open to the possibility you are of infinite possibility, that much more manifestation you can create in your life. Simple. It's direct equation. So the 7 mirrors, one is called mirror of present moment. Second is mirror of judgments. Third is mirrors of childhood laws. Fourth is mirrors from past lives. It gets a little trickier here, right? It is going into something beyond. And then fifth is mirror of your relation with your father and mother. Sixth is a mirror for quest for darkness. Dislike against darkness. Let me put it that way. And then seventh is a deeper self-perception about you. These are the 7 mirrors which are also causing a certain relation in life to be one way or the other. Okay. the 7 mirrors are causing certain relation to be one way or the other. So I will go one by one, not talking about. So the first mirror is about present moment, mirror of present moment. That means it is saying essentially our thoughts and vibrations, our thoughts right now, however you are thinking, at a very normal level. If you understand neuroscience a little bit, we have conscious mind, subconscious mind. I think we all understand this, right? The frontal cortex, neocortex, and the subconscious, which is the long-term memory. Conscious brain, short-term, long-term memory is inside. So consciously what you think is about present moment. Subconsciously what you have is about most of the other mirrors. The subconscious mind is 95% of our life, conscious mind is 5% of life, so rightfully so. But however, let's see here, right? This mirror is saying our present moment, whatever you are thinking, our thoughts and vibrations create our experiences outside. As you think and vibrate, so do you attract that kind of people. Okay? If you are harmonious vibrations, you attract harmonious people. Every day, every moment, what are you carrying with yourself is a question, is the answer that you got to have to yourself. Okay? What are you carrying with yourself consciously from your conscious mind? So here's an example, right? So suppose morning you wake up, right? Now for whatever reason, because you're stressed out last night or whatever, so you wake up and then you're a little frustrated with which you wake up. Okay? So you go with that frustration, go into your bathroom, then you are doing maybe shaving or whatever, right? Now, whatever that is equivalent to the ladies. But if there's a cut, you get even more bugged because of your anger, right? Then you go to the dining table and then something is not right, little bit also, immediately you go there because with the anger you're going there. And because you're going with the anger, you probably are attracting not so pleasant situation with your spouse there at the dining table, right? You might be losing your temper and then shouting at her or him in this case, right? And then you go on because you're angry as you're driving, potentially you're driving, but then somebody may just come from the side and start shouting at you and say, hey, don't you know how to drive? Suddenly there's an anger somebody is exhibiting on you. Okay, don't you know how to drive? They just shout at you out of nowhere. It could be because you may be driving slow, you don't know what it is, but then out of nowhere you felt that why the hell are you shouting at me? Okay, so you attract a situation where somebody is shouting at you. You went down for breakfast, maybe you would have attracted a very spicy food. You're so angry, you're bugged even more because you're attracting a reality based on what you project. And then this person, while driving, he's shouting at you out of no reason. He's shouting. Then you go into your office. You go into your office, and there, what do you project? Your anger is there. So if you are a boss, you're projecting that suddenly onto all the people in office, right? And then everybody gets upset there because you just shouted at them. What is there as something at home, something that goes elsewhere, it projected there. And then because some anger somewhere here goes and then replicates, and then you start attracting. So because you're shouting there, the next thing you might attract is that your boss would actually start shouting you from a different perspective altogether. Now what studies have found is that if you change your thought, because you're angry, you are scientifically you are angry, and then you're projecting an anger thought, you will continuously attract people and situations into your life at that point who are also because that's the energy that you're putting out, so you're going to attract the same energy. Okay, if you are harmonious, I mean, it is common sense, right? Now if you are angry, then you next time you can look at it. If you are angry, then that's the kind of people you'll keep coming up, where you keep putting up more and more fights, and your anger goes high, and then you create more fights, and your anger goes high, you create more fights. This is a common thing that keeps happening to people. Okay, so if you blame somebody, then tomorrow somebody is going to blame you. right? If you're passing comments from behind against somebody, then you'll actually exactly hear the same thing from somebody, because what you do is what you attract. So that is translating into personality and life. So our thoughts and vibrations are creating our day-to-day interaction. The people who come into our life or going away are basically based on our thoughts and feelings. Our thoughts, our subconscious mind level, what I carry that moment. If you are pleasant, then since your reactions are pleasant, so naturally the people around you that show up in front of you are also doing things pleasantly to you. The moment they do things pleasantly to you, they appear as pleasant people to you. The moment they're aggressive to you, then immediately you're aggressive, then the relationship is going away. So one of the core reasons why our relationships are either good or not so good is because our consciously what are we carrying, our thought. If you carry naturally harmonious thoughts, you are attracting harmonious events into your life, and hence the people appear to be harmonious for you. That's good enough, right? I mean, whatever time I spend, if I've got some set of people having good interactions with me, and based on which you conclude that these persons are good or not so good, is fine, right? You're attracting a situation, and then based on the situation, you're defining what the person is, one way or the other. But at the end of the day, you got a pleasant moment, it's good. So first and foremost, this mirror is saying that what is the thought consciously I'm carrying in the morning when I wake up, when I'm driving, when I'm in office. Am I angry? Am I jealousy? Am I frustrated? Am I feeling guilty? Right? Am I feeling alone? Am I feeling fearful? Fear of this health, fear of survival, what is that I'm feeling? And the more of you have, whatever that you carry is exactly the type of situation you're going to attract, and hence the type of people you're going to attract who carry that. More than 95% of what we have in our life, friends, is based on this thought alone. More than 95% of relationships are defined by what thought you're carrying. If you change your thought process, automatically you are changing and attracting the right people and situations into your life. Automatically. You can experiment it. So the first thing in the mirrors of relationships is whatever you're thinking is what the person in front of you is reflecting in their actions. Ultimately, it's all about they have to do something, right? If two people come together in a room and not talk to each other and just sit and attend a meeting and go away, fine. Right? You don't feel anything and they don't feel anything, you're done. But when we open up our mouths and then we actually start doing things, then you know what is it they're projecting. When they start doing things, and you know what they're, and whatever they do invariably is based on what you are that day, that moment you're thinking. You're attracting that because that's exactly the signal you're sending to the universe. I am looking for more angry person. I am looking for more jealousy person. Okay. So we got to change our thought. Of course, for all of this, meditation is a single answer for meditation, right? So we got to stop blaming and start reflecting on our thoughts. The way to overcome this mirror is that to change our thought process and our vibrations and naturally attract the right people and situations. We got to stop blaming. We have to reflect on our thoughts on a regular basis. If our thoughts are fear-based, then fear-based means fear of survival, fear of loss, fear of death, fear of life, right? They're all a fear of looking bad. There are various situations of why we are fearful, right? Fear of failures. So whenever you have that, if you're worrying about constantly fear of failures, right? So you don't start anything, but then you'll also attract people into your life who also think that way, and then also constantly discourage you to say, hey, come on, you are kidding. You are silly to think that no, you start that and you'll be successful. They constantly discourage you because you fundamentally have a fear of failure thinking. Then the people also show up like that who are also attract, because you attract the same energy. Okay, that's why we can't move forward sometimes, because we have a certain energy and vibration. We attract the same people. Then our thoughts, feelings, environment create a reality. So in this case, you attract an environment of people who are exactly thinking that way, and as a result, we will keep getting buried deep into that side only. So you can't move forward. So you think about this frequently. We keep checking. If we do anapanasati meditation, we don't have to keep checking because we're naturally moving away from a low vibration thought to a high vibration thought, right? We're going into the high vibration thought very naturally. So that's the first mirror, is mirror of present moment, which is all in the conscious mind. Consciously what we're thinking is what is causing several situations, small and big, into life. Second is the mirror of judgment. Okay, this is based on deep judgments that you have. Okay, you have beliefs. So this is where it goes into this one and the next one. Mirror of judgment and mirror of childhood loss are directly related to the beliefs that we form. Okay, based on either our childhood conditions or otherwise based on certain interactions that we've been having. The mirror of judgment is one level deeper, whereas mirror of childhood loss is a lot more deeper in the way your parents have brought you up. Directly is the way you've been brought up in the early age in the childhood. That's the childhood loss. But the mirror of judgment is after that you've been forming a lot of beliefs. This is called your personality, which gets developed from the age 0 to 35 years, typically 35, 40 years. So what is the personality you're developing, and because of which what beliefs you formed, right? A belief saying that big companies will never give raises is a belief, right? My father is always arguing is a because he's been arguing enough times that you just make a belief that always argues, right? My wife is fat because she just eats a lot all the time. A belief you form. Now there is a good reason, maybe, right? There is a reason why is because you form this belief that if father is argumentative all the time. If you have that belief, then you avoid taking your father to parties or group settings because he gets into arguments, right? He gets into arguments, so you don't want them to be involved in group settings because you feel if he comes there, then he'll argue and then go into discussion. Okay. So what do we do? Because of the beliefs we avoid. Mirror of judgment. So the judgments come from the beliefs. Okay, we judge others based on the beliefs that we carry. We dislike some, for example, another example, a disciplined person. If there is a disciplined person, then let's talk about the person who is like your father is argumentative, then you avoid bringing your father to the group settings. And then so is the case. The moment you find somebody is argumentative, even someone opens up and then have a discussion, you say, oh, these people are argumentative, so let me just stay away from them. So you dislike and disown a set of people because you have a belief. You can never get along well in a group setting because then just the way is reflecting a belief that you carried from your father that is argumentative, so I have to avoid. So you also avoid. But you have those beliefs so those people keep coming into your life. Because you're carrying that, they keep coming because that's how you feel. That people who discuss are very argumentative. And the moment you form that belief, then you keep attracting anyone who is argumentative to you to constantly remind that don't make the judgment about a given person. They may be like that in one situation, two situations, but don't generalize and make a judgment. Or when you have argument with people, you cannot avoid them. At the end of the day, you can't avoid them. If you're trying to avoid them, they keep coming back to you because you got to learn to live in every situation. Right? At the end of the day, we are here to learn to live in every situation. With a person who is argumentative, we got to be able to keep quiet. If you don't have add value, then you keep quiet, they also stop. But then we argue too. So, argument leads to anger. You judge that my father is argumentative and then leads to anger, but then you also lose your anger as part of argument. He argues, you argue. He argues, you argue. Instead, you only blame that he is only arguing. If for argument to happen, two people have to come together, yes or no. But we say he is argumentative. So clearly there is a reflection. What is the nature of argumentative nature is there in another person is there in us too, but we brand them as the argumentative person. We brand them as the angry person. Your mother is angry, so you're talking, whenever she, yes, she's painful. Mother is angry, yes, initially when somebody is shouting, it feels painful to you. You are a child, mother is angry, shouts, it feels painful to you. Okay, what happens when the mother is angry? It feels painful to you. Okay, then she says something more, what happens? I also burst out, I also shout at her. Okay, so you also shout at her. Rather than forgiving, rather than accepting, they are walking away at that point. Instead, you also shout at her. So then, where is your anger gone? You're also angry then. Why are you branding your mother as angry when you're also doing the same thing? Your mother is angry in front of you constantly is because it's reflecting a quality that you have in you. If you can be very stable, if you can be balanced, and if you cannot lose your temper and then handle a situation, then slowly you'll have two things happen. Either mother will change, or you might have probably gone off into a either you've gone into a boarding school if you are small young, or if you are just younger, you got married and you've gone away into a different home, or in a workplace you have gone somewhere else. If the other person is not changing, provided first you change, right? So the mirror of judgment is saying that we judge people based on a certain thing, but what we don't realize is we have that quality in us. Okay, and that's why they keep showing up with that quality. Those with a little intense. The judgments are coming based on the belief system, and by doing so, we keep avoiding them. But by avoiding, so what happens? We are avoiding people with relationships. That person may be actually good for you, but then you avoid. So you're not able to have good relationship with many people based on these judgments. If you had a tough time with a teacher in your school who has been very disciplined in the childhood, then every time you see somebody little disciplined, or your notion of what a discipline is. For example, right, many defense people are considered to be very disciplined, strict. If a teacher was strict, then you carry that deeply, right? And then maybe you would found all teachers are like that. Then you start making a belief that all teachers are very disciplined, tough to deal with. You stay away from teachers. Then you have this perception, slowly judgment carried that no. Then somewhere you hear, oh, defense people also generally, or army retired people also very disciplined. So if they are your company's some operational managers, you stay away from them, because the moment you get to know that, oh, army people, because you made a perception belief that okay, they're all going to be very disciplined, that means they're going to be tough, like your teacher in their childhood. Then you had a projection of a stronger belief and a perception. You form a perception and a belief, and as a result, you have the judgment, inherent judgment, that this person is going to be tough. The moment you hear he is a retired defense personnel, tough person, a disciplined person, so since you recollect your childhood memories of a teacher, then you want to avoid a relationship at all. And then when you get to that person, because you're thinking about past events, that is the reflection that person is going to be, and he's going to give you a tough situation, because you're attracting that situation of past, and so he's also going to be behaving exactly that way. And then even though he's been nice to, or she nice to others, but then they would have projected a very tough instance with you. One we avoid, and then say if when you don't avoid and we stay with them, they project a very tough thing, because that's what we deep inside we carry as a judgment. So the judgments, if you carry, and then with which we are attracting people, so we need to look at fundamentally and say, why am I judging? So what is the reason that I am having this way? If we are trying to avoid your father into group settings because he is argumentative, go deep inside. What happens? Why are you avoiding your father? Because if he goes to the party, he'll argue, and when he argues there, and then people will dislike him, because obviously others are going to make a comment about him, right? People will dislike him, and then deep inside you have caring for your dad, and then you don't want him to be disliked by people, so you want to protect him, and as a result you try to avoid it, because others will make a comment and judge about him, and then so you want to avoid, and so you will say, okay, you stay here only, because you lose your temper and then start arguing with people there, because deep inside you are protecting him. What are you protecting? If they argue and they don't accept mistakes, and they're trying to protect because you'll get bad, so we should not do that. Instead, we are understanding the mirror, and then we work with the people about this deep inside, why we are behaving that way. All right. So reflect upon the most significant judgments you are making of others, and then reason of why it is happening. You got to go deeper in why it is happening, right? And then when you go in the deeper into why it's happening, then you know that what is the deep inside, that belief that you carry, and then you can change that. Okay, so this is mirror of judgment. The moment we change our beliefs, moment we change our perception, we don't carry such beliefs, automatically people also will change. Right? Automatically people also will change. You might have a fear of, in this case, looking bad. In your dad's case, it is now going into something more deeper, right? And there is a judgment that is argumentative, or it never accepts mistakes. There is a judgment, you go a little deeper, it is fear of looking bad in the society. That's the fear you're holding. The moment you get over that fear, then automatically you will bear with it and say, so what, yeah? I mean, my father is my father, so let me take him. So what if others think that way, right? And so you don't avoid them, and then you work with them. Then even though there fear, potentially there is a fear of looking bad is there. People may make some comments on him or her, but then you are stable with you, because that's the other's opinion. Your opinion is different, so your opinion with father is still the same. So he's good. You're going to have a good time with your father. You're going to take him to wherever your parties you're going. Otherwise, you want to avoid here. You won't avoid them, and you want to take them. This is our relationship with parents typically go away, because we see some things don't like and then want to avoid them. The reason deep inside there is always some fear is there. Ultimately, all relationships that are based on fear are love. You got to go deep to see, is this fear based protection, is it love based action? Why am I doing? Is it fear based action, love based action? In this case, argumentative father going to be looking bad. If my father is going to look bad, I also look bad. Are yeah, oh, he's a VP, but it doesn't know. And people are also not basics. They don't accept if they're talking mistakes. Just like that, people make comments. We feel bad, so fear of looking bad. Okay. For that, we avoid only some relationships to be there. This is what we have to understand. So, mirror of judgment, what do we have to do? Is to reflect and go into the depths of where it is coming from. Why am I doing this particular judgment? Right? That teacher staying tough is what? Ultimately, staying tough means is not giving you the freedom. The teacher is not giving you freedom because you never just liked it with your teacher when you were childhood. You stay tough, disciplined, you wanted freedom, he doesn't like. So now you suddenly feel that fear of losing your freedom. That fear of losing your freedom is there, and hence you avoid all people who are disciplinary, because the moment you are with them, you feel that you're going to be curtailed. You lose your freedom. So friends, you go deeper and understand what is the action, and then you try to overcome that fear. All right. The third one is mirror of childhood loss. Actually, I want to stop. Am I making sense, or am I going to monologue? Let me ask you. So, can you, if there is somebody, so are you with me on what I've said so far?
Sir, I didn't ask the question. Sorry, I didn't listen the question.
I said, are you with me? Are you
Yes,
understand?
sir.
Am I making sense? That's what I'm asking.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. Let me go, and
Yes,
then I want to cover two more mirrors, and then we can go in. The rest of it, we don't. They're not that important. So, mirror of judgment is a very important mirror. When we judge, and as a result, we are avoiding certain situations, or we are avoiding certain relationships. And constantly we keep attracting whatever we are judging with is what we keep attracting. If somebody you are attracting, because you have that inherent quality in you, then you got to overcome that also. The best thing is to never judge anybody. If you don't judge anybody, then you're just fine. And judgments are often coming because of based on certain fears inside. Only because of fears we have judgments. So you got to look deep into the judgments of why you are judging somebody that way. Then you will understand the fear behind that. And when you have a fear behind that, suppose it's fear of loss. If it's a fear of loss or fear of death, then you know that the judgment is that. Then you have to, what do you have to do? You have to meditate more, you have to read, expand yourself, understand yourself that there is no death. There is no death. So naturally that will go away, right? Don't travel. I don't want my children to travel, and I want them to just work nicely only here. There is a conclusion made. And as a result, you will tell your children don't travel. Why? Somewhere deep inside that don't travel is coming because you lost, you read newspapers here and there on business we regulate to travel. Maybe that flight crashes, this and that, potentially my son will go, and then whatever, right? That will be there. So there is some deep inside fear. You project it as something else. All travel is bad is a judgment, and because all travel is bad, and as a result, travel is bad, and as a result, you stop your children or your loved ones to not have a great career, right? Or they potentially they might stop their interest too. Deep inside is a fear of death, fear of life, deep inside. So we have to overcome that. Until that we overcome, then these kind of judgments will continue to be there. And as a result, you curtail, and as a result, you don't have a good relationship. What happens? Because you say, don't travel, then your child has aspirations. The child will say, what are you saying? How can I not travel? So the constant tussle between wife and husband too. Husband is always traveling because passionate. Wife is somewhere deeply worried about, either it's because lack of vice versa. I'm sorry, I'm using this word, but it could be wife traveling and husband sitting at home. Either way is fine, right? But But at the end of the day, there is always some fear behind, and as a result, we make judgments and conclusions and projections or perceptions, and as a result, then we don't have good relationship with people because of this. We got to drop all the judgments, right? The third one is mirror of childhood loss, little deeper. So there are 5 things the way parents are bringing up children, right? At a very early age, children lose these because they're based on the ignorant parents in many cases, not necessarily intentionally, but ignorant parents. What they do is the childhood loss things are about having unconditional love, whether I'm valued or not, whether I am accepted or not, whether I have freedom or not, whether I have got protection or not. 5 things. Protection. Fighting parents do not, the child feels insecure. They doesn't, the child feels that I'm not protected. So what does the child do at that point? The child is trying to make roles. He's trying to create an environment, safe environment for the parent. Because he feels if the parents are arguing, if a boss, same thing is projected in a work environment also, by the way. If parents argue, parents fight, then children become feel vulnerable and say, oh, what happens if they split? What happens if they don't take it? Who will take care of me? They feel very insecure. So they try to make up for that, and then so they lose their childhood, they start becoming now adults, and they try to fill up a role. If husband is never caring for the wife, then they try to fill up that role, and then try to become adult and act from that angle. They try to support it. Poor things, but they do it. If the fight is because the child is not doing well, then they feel enormously struggle inside. They feel that, okay, they have to do something here. First, fill up the vacuum that the mother or father is having because the other person. So they lack fear. They feel that insecure protection. So I'm not going to be taken care if something happens to them. Same exact thing happens. I'm sure you can resonate in your office environment. If 2 top-level managers are colliding, and then you get stuck inside, you feel, man, what's happening here? When will these guys come together? Will my job be there because of this fighting? Will I be there? This project will be there. This is going to go nowhere. You see that insecurity comes. Exact same thing comes in an individual when they're a child. Fighting parents, arguing parents, unhealthy, that kind of environment. That's one. Protection. Second one, so these things bring up as when we grow up, we have certain relation failing, or one way or the other is because we miss these childhood values, losses we call childhood loss. Second is freedom. If you are a disciplined parent, always saying, always trying to keep them in a routine, fixed routine. Remember this part, now fixed routine, you make it always. 8 o'clock dinner, lunch, 8 o'clock dinner, 7 o'clock wake up, 5 o'clock do this, 5:30 do this, game off, this, that. You put a discipline, then they feel that it's life, there's no freedom. They lose the freedom because they want to do slightly differently, but then you are curtailing because as you authority, as a child, the parent, right? So they lose the freedom. I'll come to you why it's showing up in the relationship later. The third one is valued, and fourth one is accepted, right? So valued and accepted. Valued is every time your child, how much value you give to your child's performance or your child's acts, right? If accidentally also or inadvertently in a relative circle, for example, I mean, he is always doing this only. He is most of the time is with newspaper only, or most of the time is computer only. Doesn't study that well. Even though that sincerely is putting, but then if you talk low of the child, then he feels it is not valued. When the child is not valued, he loses that fundamental thing that is not valued. He loses that capability. So he's always looking. Whatever we lose in the childhood, deep inside we're always looking for that to be fulfilled when we grow up in our relationships. We're always looking to fall back on somebody else who can give that to me, right? Who can value me deeply, who can protect me deeply. So valuing is where a parent typically is not underplaying the capability, a skill, or no achievement of a child. Accepting is every time child says something, I would like to go and meet my person. No, not now. I would like pizza. No, not now. hey, can I take tomorrow somewhere, and I would like to go for I'm not feeling well, so I want to not go to school. No, you can't go. The more times we say no, not now, the more times we say no, then you are not, the child is developing and said, I'm not accepted. Whatever I say is no meaning. So these guys are not going to accept it. So I'm not accepted, right? So they stowing, withdrawing back. You withdraw back in our life. Okay, there is a difference. One is how it develops, and then the implication of it also, right, is a different thing. So they withdraw in life slowly. You find them not interested because whatever they do, they're not valued, they're not accepted, they feel they lose their interest. They stop asking you, and if they're not valued, they withdraw from life because they say, how much ever I do, how much ever I perform, they're anyway not accepting me. So their performance in the studies also slowly goes down in whatever they have to do because they feel fundamentally they're not valued. Okay, not accepted, valued. The last one is love, friends, conditional versus unconditional love. We say, I'll give you this gift, I'll give you this phone, I'll give you this once you finish your 12th grade, come out with the great marks, do this, get that seat, get this, that, right? Conditional love is what we give. And then so they feel that then love is never there. Unconditionally, you're never giving, right? It's always conditioned. So these 5 values we lose in a childhood. So that show up as we grow up, and then that shows up, and then we constantly are looking for that. Will somebody love me the way I am? If my father, mother always put a condition of what it means, and then so they're always looking for that and saying, when will I get that love unconditionally? So this is what happens. If a boy and a girl meet, when a boy and a girl meet, the boy is talking, nicely, and then he's taking care of every little thing this girl is doing. So the girl suddenly feels that she is accepted. The only thing she got in the childhood is a big no from parents and all the people who influential people. No, 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 no. Now suddenly there is an acceptance by this boy. So there is that acceptance. Now this boy was not valued when he was a childhood, whereas she, whatever little thing he's doing, she's appreciating. Right? She's appreciating whatever little thing he's doing, and so he feels like suddenly so much valued. So they fall in love. Because one is finding that value in the other person, another is finding that acceptance in the other person, so they fall in love. Great. Nice, right? Because you're looking for something. But then what happens after a year or 2 years, you get what you're looking for and you're satisfied. You got that acceptance, you got that love. So it is over. Your relationship is based on a specific need. But after the need is met, then what happens? Then suddenly you start realizing that okay, it's no longer a need for you, because you came together not for a need, but then suddenly you realize that need is met. Now it becomes vacuum. So we got to recognize this mirror of childhood loss is that when we are getting into people relationships, we recognize that what is it that emotionally, what is it attracting me? Why am I getting into this relationship? Because what happens in this case? In this case, suddenly the relation will break. And why it's breaking is because your needs have been met, and then the other person's needs have been met, so they're no longer interested. So if you can recognize your need is why you're getting together with somebody, and then if you can develop that into a friendship, then it's going to stay. If you don't develop into a friendship, then it will going to go away, potentially. Your relationships are not good in that case because it is purely based on a need from the childhood loss, and then we recognize it, and then we understand it. Right? We understand that okay, this is why it is, but then how do I go beyond that need? Then you are naturally going to make that a beautiful relationship. So we have to look at what is the childhood loss that I had. Some of this inner child work will greatly help in going to understand, get this, right? So this is the third mirror. The fourth mirror is a little deeper mirror of past lives. If you have a sudden cheating, these past lives are much more deep rooted. There are also deep wounds, but the deep rooted, deep wounds that are there from carrying over from another lifetime potentially, right? It's a little tricky subject, but but there's this much to say. If anything that is intense, like suddenly you would least expect that somebody cheated you in business. Least expect your partner cheated on you. Least expected, right? No, anything that is intensely is happening, an intense experience if you're feeling right now with a relationship, chances are likely that it is from a past life. What is the way to come out of this past life thing? Right? The way you come out of this is that you got to forgive the other person. The only way And the best way is to give enormous forgiveness to the other person. Okay, forgiveness is the mantra of learning from this mirror. You have come here for enormously exhibiting the forgiveness quality. Forgive, 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 forgive. That's the time, that's the way the relationship can get better, or you may stop attracting such people into your life again and again. Otherwise, some people say, I am getting cheated over last time, I got cheated there, I got cheated here, I got cheated there. You develop mistrust as opposed to looking at and saying, how do I get over the situation? If you can forgive a deep situation like this, intense situations, then the chances are that you can overcome that, and then next time you will not get into a situation like this where again you will get cheated and again you get that hurt, right? The mirror of past lives is essentially is a deep lesson that we are trying to teach us, and that's why we come with certain situations and we got to look at that, right? But answer is forgiveness is a mantra. If we can develop forgiveness unconditionally in any situation, then you are not going to have face this kind of stuff again and again, right? The mirror of father and mother and other mirrors are a little lighter, very rare cases. But the mirror of father mother, I will say, because I love this aspect, very important. The meaning of this mirror is that we have to get close with parents. Our manifestation, our life purpose is often related to the unfinished businesses that we have. They will come here with through our parents. So our manifestations, if in your life consistently you are having challenges, either business, on the personal side, on social side, if you are generally the theme is that showing up across the board in many places for anybody, then you recognize that first understand what is the relation with their father and mother, because they are the connection into the universe, and their field of energy is very, very intertwined, quite closely intertangled, quantum entanglement with your energy field. And so you got to have a very good relation with the parents. If you don't, then their emotional interest is not actively playing on into yours, and so there is a general considered to be generally there's lower vibrations are projected, and so they constantly there is a level of failure that you see in the life. So many a times having that great expression, relationship with the father and mother is so important. And if anybody, even in this room, if you kept aside your mom or dad for any reason, whatsoever may be, right? Because they were very brutal, they were not necessarily nice to you, or they were never gave you freedom, or they have always been trying to be very protective on you. But whatever may be the situation, friends, we got to go back and mend ways with the parents. We got to pick up the phone and then give them a call and say thank you, right? Forgive them, or either you forgive them because you feel deeply they've done something to you, or you ask for forgiveness, but one of the two, right? Now, that's very, very important to be successful. It's a direct relation to manifestation, a mirror of father and mother. Okay, facing failures, facing various events, situations in our life is primarily because one of the reasons is because we don't have this, but it's much easier to do, most easy thing to do. All right. So I would like to stop here. The other two mirrors are one is about you always like only the good side of it. Fear of looking at not looking at the darkness is good and bad is there. Dark and night are there. So some people say I don't like this night. I only like the daytime. They don't like the nighttime at all, right? They only want the good side. They somewhere deep inside they feel if someone is saying, hey, what happens tomorrow if that market goes down, a business goes down, and then so suddenly all of value, our assets become zero, then they'll say, stop saying that kind of words. They just want to push even a discussion around that. A lot of people I hear, hey, he's going there, that road is high accident prone road, so be careful. Stop saying, don't say that. Because they feel that they not want to look at, they're so scared about death. So it's called looking into the good side only and then trying to avoid the bad side, okay? The more you try to avoid the bad side, the more you attract those situations and those kind of people into life. It's called not fear of not looking into, mirror of not looking into the dark side of it. Duality is there always. We got to be neutral, equanimous to the duality situation. We got to increase our knowledge level, increase the meditation so that we accept death or birth same way. Loss or gain we accept the same way, right? So these are a little more deeper. we carry that as a lifetime thing, and then we try to avoid deeply certain specific on the dark side of it. We have to understand that what we are trying to avoid, and we have to embrace the dark side too. Okay. The last one is how deeply you are lowering yourself, is your self judgment, and you put yourself very, very low, and as a result, you cannot attract anything good. If you don't love yourself at all, you constantly punish yourself and judge yourself, then you can't give what you don't have to others, so you can't attract very good set of people. You can't make good relationships with your life because you yourself don't have it, right, friends? So these are the 7 mirrors of relationships. The significant ones are the mirror of present moment, so change your thought. Second is your childhood loss and beliefs, and these are more in the subconscious that are deeply rooted. So when we expand our knowledge, then we automatically understand why this is being caused, and we understand the meaning behind all events, and so we can easily overcome that. And as a result, when we overcome those which are projected from the subconscious, then automatically our outer will change, and we attract the right kind of relationship with the people. Okay, let's do a meditation. Did anybody has anything to say?
Sir, last point, can you just explain, sir? I did not get.
Which point is that? The last mirror. Yeah, the last mirror is about self judgments. So we constantly undermine deeply that we carry a very low vibration about ourselves. We feel that, okay, we are very guilty. You carry a guilt about yourself, that you're not good, you always are, you feel shameful, or you feel guilty. If suppose you've done something wrong sometime, right, you feel very shameful of it, and then you just carry that thing with you. A lot of times, if working mother may be feeling a deep guilt that, am I doing the right thing to my family? Am I taking care of my children well? Not taking care of my family, because the society has brainwashed you that you got to do that. And so there is this guilt that is being carried. So when you carry such deep guilt with you deeply, and it builds up more and more, and then every time you hear some comments, so when you carry that, then that's projected, so you're not able to, because what you carry is what you project, right? And as a result, you're not able to attract any good relationships with that kind of self judgment. Okay, so the mantra for that is that you got to love yourself, you got to accept yourself as is, you got to love yourself, love, and everything you do, you got to accept and love. If you do that, right, then you naturally are accept yourself, you got to respect yourself, you got to believe in yourself, you got to give importance to yourself, right? You never should go against yourself, you never should judge yourself, right? You never should let others rule you. These are all the various aspects of you that you got to take care. Accepting as the way you are, right? And respecting. So now, don't immediately, a lot of times we, if suppose in a family setting, right, if something happens, then first we immediately comment ourselves first. Oh, it's because of me it's happening to my family. Don't do that, right? And so this is that mirror of self-perception. When you start loving ourselves completely, and meditation is building that deeply for us. When we start loving ourselves, then naturally we are attracting a whole set of new relationships, because you got that, and then you can give it to many people that way. Okay. Otherwise you don't have it, so you also attract the same kind of people. So you can't have a good relationship, because if two people who don't have love, you don't love each other, if two people come together, then what do you get? They cannot give love, because they don't love each other. First, they don't even love themselves, right? So when you don't love, and then the only thing you do is to criticize yourself, right? Then other person is the same way, so there's nothing that you can commonly share. So the relationship doesn't even build. Okay. Friends, so we will do a quick 15 minutes meditation, and then we'll close this session. Okay. Relax yourself. Let Let me share the screen. With your eyes closed, sit comfortably. With your fingers into fingers, observe your normal, natural breath. Dear friends, dear masters, we are going into breath mindfulness meditation. We'll be mindful of our breath during this whole meditation. We become one with our in breath and the out breath for the whole duration. Be with your breath. As you observe the breath, allow yourself to slowly become empty of all thoughts in your mind. Allow yourself to go deeper into that emptiness of your mind. As your mind is getting empty, allow yourself to find that emptiness inside your body. Allow yourself to go deeper into that emptiness as you become one with your breath. As you merge into your breath, allow yourself to find that emptiness inside you, all around you. Become aware of that emptiness where there is no body, where there is no thing, where there is no place and in no time. Allow yourself to go deeper and deeper into that emptiness of no body and no thing as you become one with your breath. All emptiness is energy. That's energy in the quantum field with unlimited possibility and opportunity. This is your divine self. Allow yourself to be completely merged into this emptiness as no body, as no thing. Where our attention goes, there the energy flows and the manifestation happens. Allow yourself to stay present with that emptiness, with that energy, as no body. The longer you stay in this field, the more opportunities you receive in your life, the more you become of it. Friends, I would like us to express gratitude. Gratitude is the highest state of receivership. Be grateful to your parents for giving you this beautiful connection to life. Can you be grateful to your teachers and mentors for expanding your wisdom and knowledge? Be grateful to all the people in your life, your family, your friends, colleagues, relatives, for they have taught us so many things. They've been the mirrors of ourselves. Be grateful to this grand nature, the animals, the birds, the fish, for the filling our lives with beauty, trust, and mystery. Be deeply thankful to all the objects you use, the technology, the system, the governments, and the companies for the making our life so comfortable. Be grateful to yourself for caring for you, for caring for others. And finally, be grateful to this grand universe for allowing us to live this life, for allowing us to experience so much more in this life. Gratitude is the highest state of receivership. The more we accept, the more we express gratitude, the more we attract a brighter future into our life. Relax yourself. Relax your body. Feel your body. Relax. And whenever you're ready, you can keep your hands on your eyes for 5 seconds. And then open your eyes. Okay, friends, thank you very much for your time. And Ashwini, thank you for inviting. I know most people have videos off, so it's just, I think you can have a lot more engagement, right? But also we have so much time. But I really enjoyed it. And you're doing great. I can tell you, you're doing just wonderful job. So 100 days is no joke of continuous every day doing it. There's so much commitment it takes. And selflessly, I'm really hats off to you, Ashwini. It's great to see you, an youngster like that, just doing it, and then you're always reaching out for new speakers and then doing this excellent, amazing job you're doing. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming. Meditation was so good.
Can't
We went so deep
hear
in the
you, Ashwini.
meditation.